I ask you to vacate the premises. I'm occupying it and there's nothing here to take.
Calm down, Sherba. Vupalov sent me.
Is the professor doing okay? He didn't succumb to intoxication from that poison of his, did he? Its alcohol by volume is nearing pure ethanol. Not to mention the anomalous component. What a fall from grace. A great scientist resorting to making vodka.
Why do you even bother helping Vupalov?
How can I stand by and watch a scientist of his caliber kill the few brain cells he has left? He has invaluable knowledge and skills, the kind that are not taught at Malachite, especially nowadays. The professor has no right to go down this path.
Tell me about Vupalov. So he's a great scientist?
Professor Dvupalov is a brilliant mind hailing from the Project X era, the mastermind behind the Controller Project. He used to bring science to new heights. Now the only thing he can bring is a glass toward his lips. He's disenchanted with his life's work, you see? Nothing ever changes. If only the professor had taken a moment to peruse my notes instead of selling vodka.
Dvupalov sent me to get the keycard for X5. I'm looking for the Phantom Suppressor.
It took Dvupalov a whole 6 months just to remember my name while I served him food every day. And now he tells you about the card right away? Did you drink with him or something?
It's tough to avoid having a drink with him.
That stuff is pure poison. All right, I'll give you the card. It's too risky for me in there anyway. But you've got to promise me that you'll search X5 for any papers related to the Controller Project and bring them back to me.
Since I'm headed to X5, tell me about the lab.
Until recently, no one even knew it existed. The research there was classified, and the lab had been mothballed for quite some time. Then UT did some cleanup with heavy explosives there, and found hidden levels beneath Agroprom. I used certain informal channels to reach out to the professor. That's how I found out it was an old mutant research lab. I can't even begin to fathom what's going on in there right now.
Why do you want those papers?
I tried to convince Professor Dvupalov that I'm a worthy successor to his great work, but all I received from him was a couple of his drafts, one of which had been used as a food wrapper. I'm talking about research that could etch our names into history. Since the professor doesn't seem to recognize it, I'll take it upon myself to finish the job for him.
Tell me what you know about the Controller Project.
The Controller Project did involve some research on phantoms, but its main objective was to develop specimens modified with both biological and technological enhancements. Unlike their mutant predecessors, which were impossible to keep in their cages, these were meant to be trained as soldiers to protect Project X personnel. Can you imagine? Not even Circa is attempting anything like that nowadays. They haven't even managed to create a single new specimen.
Hand me that keycard, and I'll see what I can do about your papers.
All right. It's not like I've got much of a choice. But keep those papers in mind, Stalker. You'll need to head all the way down, but if you're willing to do the job, I'll make it worth your while. I'll go check on the professor in the meantime. Seems like every time I look away, he's got a new drinking buddy. The Stalker, he's back. Those papers I mentioned, do you have them?
Where are your manners, young man? You won't even offer a man a sit and pour him a cold one?
Here. I don't want to be anywhere near these things.
This is... Yes! This is it! At last!
There's nothing exciting in there anyhow. I've told you before, young man, if even my own work can end in failure...
Faust wasn't exactly... a failure. In a way. Haven't you heard? He tapped into the X network, brought the monolith back, and caused a bloodbath all over the zone.
So he's... your project? The abilities you incorporate...
Shut up! I knew I was right all along.
What the fuck?
So that bunch of old farts in pots haven't given up on my research. Hooking him up to the monolith was a stroke of genius.
Okay, so what do we do now? Fuck.
And I told them that the only way to create a true controller is to preserve his capacity to think, to feel, and make decisions. Sure, right now the choices he's making don't align with what the Ward, the NDST or anyone else had in mind. But I did succeed.
The MDST? What's that?
The scientists from Project X who, unlike me, were eager to continue their research even after it was officially shut down. It appears they were the ones who made the Controller Project a reality. Officially, they had no funding or approval to proceed. However, Sea Consciousness wasn't content with merely creating the zone. They were determined to safeguard a pitiful existence. That's why they needed the monolith. And later on, Faust and his abilities.
Why did you create Faust?
The mutants turned out to be far too unpredictable, useless, and downright dangerous. The aim was to mold them into obedient soldiers. The Liege had some success with more primitive tools. But I believed we were on the wrong path. The error, I thought, lay in the very design of the controllers. Without consciousness and human empathy, their sea abilities were pitiful. Faust demonstrated this vividly, but masterful tools necessitate much more precise fine-tuning.
Who is Faust now? What have you turned him into?
We granted him the abilities of a controller mutant.
Oh.
But I'm convinced that Faust has retained his humanity. See, there's no more Project X, no Sea Consciousness, no MDST to protect. He wasn't being directed by a program. He initiated this of his own free will. I believe the monolith became an idea to him. Give a man an idea he can grasp, and he'll do much more than he would ever do cursed. I've always said that it works better than any leash.
I found the suppressor. Can you install it?
All right. I almost forgot the reason you're here. All the work I did. It's all become meaningless. You're going to kill Faust.
A lot of people died because of him.
Were they good people? Well, then find other good people to install the suppressor. I'm not a technician. You're as much of a fool as I am if you think you can set things right. The Controller Project was abandoned, and yet Faust endures. Monolith disappeared, and now it has returned. Go ahead and kill Faust, Stalker. It won't change a thing. You'll see. I'll help you find the suppressor. What more do you want? Let a man enjoy his...
Shit!
We're circle round from the northwest. They might be good at stealth, but my men are even better.
Okay,
Keep your heads down until the Stalker does his thing. Star's counting on you. Star's in charge of the operation. He's the man to talk to. I need to concentrate.
Well, that's...
Look at us! We're having a blast! As long as Faust is surrounded by phantoms, we can't get to him. And the fact that he has a small army and the most powerful brain scorcher in the zone is not making it easier.
Oh yeah. You guys sure know how to throw a party.
We didn't plan this when we turned on the Lesser Dugas, but we can't let Faust turn the zone into zombie land. The zone bows to no one. This is gonna be a real mess. The Monolithians aren't creative, but they're stubborn as hell. I can't wait to get rolling. But if you need time to gear up, this is your last chance. If you're ready, I'll brief you on the plan, and off we go.
Why don't we just head back to Promin and shut down the Dugas?
We've tracked synchronizing impulses. It means that Faust's followers obtain control codes from the emitter and can activate the Dugas whenever they want. Basically, we've lost remote access. The only way is to turn it off manually. And I know how.
I need some time to get ready.
Sure, but be quick about it. The Monolithians must have already figured out someone killed their recce team. And don't go too far ahead. Their Gauss snipers can take you out with...
I was born ready. I live for this stuff.
Let's get down to business. You see the Dugas? We can't storm it head on. Faust and that Psi radiation will fry our brains before we even get close. But we haven't been sitting around, and we've got blueprints from the underground utilities. Turns out, there's a sewer line running from the firehouse straight to the Dugas. It's a quiet way in, and the patrols won't see us. You gotta get to the transformer room and shut down the Dugas. Once you're done, we'll take care of the Monolithians, while you take on Faust. Any questions?
Any complications I should be aware of?
The sewers ain't exactly a walk in the park. They're crawling with mutants. But I'd rather take on critters than Gauss snipers any day. You'll manage. Shutting down the Dugas might make a little noise, so be ready for some armed guests to crash your little party at the substation. Stay on your toes.
Any guards patrolling the substation?
Our teams report that Monolithians don't give a damn about the transformer room. Plus, we've got a couple tricks to keep them occupied while you're there. As for the ward, after the hit they took, they won't be coming anywhere near the Dugas again. They got the memo.
I've got my part sorted. What's your plan?
We've got all our friends gathered. Did you see anyone on your way here? That's the point. Today, the Monolith is gonna find out how many folks are really with Spark. But why ruin the surprise? You're the last piece of the puzzle. Once you get down there, my unit commanders will go about their business. The Monolithians have us outmanned and outgunned. But if we can distract and divide them, their brute force won't count for much.
I'll shut down the Dugas, and I'll deal with Faust.
Attaboy! Now get into the tunnel before new Monolithian patrols show up. The signal is patchy down below, so make sure to get to the radio room. That's our first communication point. That's the gist of it. We'll figure out the rest as we go. March, Mugwort, China. Get to your squads and take positions. Let's roll.